This is going to be a pretty cool video today, as I am lucky enough to have my hands on an early prototype unit of the upcoming ModRetro M64. For those new, this is a FPGA-based console that can play your Nintendo 64 cartridges alongside a boatload of modern features that make this a very fluid gaming experience for those that love Nintendo 64. And it's directly competing with this, which you've probably definitely seen, the analog 3D as well. This is in extreme green, so the race to create the perfect FPGA Nintendo 64 console is on, and I want to share with you a first look at this prototype unit. So I can't share with you a bunch of the menus. I can give you a sneak peek at menus and gameplay, but it's going to be a deeper dive into the physical design of this alongside some of the physical features as well. So let's jump in and take a look at the M64. ModRetro's products are definitely not minimal, nor do they want to blend in with the modern technology of today. And that's on purpose. The M64 follows the Chromatic's colourful, slightly chaotic, yet obvious nostalgic style that hopes to stand out in your games room. And it does just that. I have the transparent green colour, which shows off a lot of the internals for you to stare at in awe. The M64 will come in other transparent colours too, such as purple, white, and the newly added red at launch. There's no basic color scheme here or anything minimal. If you want to get that, go somewhere else. It's pretty much what ModRetro are saying. This is extravagant, it's exciting, and playful. And that's exactly why they designed it the way they have. I don't have the M64 metal-backed Trident controller to review, just the console, but this controller will likely come out in the future bundled with the M64. So I don't think, I may be wrong here, I don't think you're going to get this controller bundled with the M64 for $199, because there's so much tech involved in creating this custom controller that they would have probably lost money doing that. So there will be a bundle in the future to get the console and the controller together, or you can buy them individually. So let's jump into the visuals of the M64. On top, as mentioned, you can see right into the internals through this window section of the console, which is to resemble the nostalgic transparent tech of the 90s and early 2000s. But it also shows ModRetro's incredible work on the PCB, which is made with black pre-preg and a clear solder mask with gold traces that turns the PCB into a literal piece of art. Around this window is the cartridge slot and an eject button, which assists you with the release of the cartridge. Otherwise, the cartridge is in so tightly that pulling on it lifts the entire console off the ground. So this is a really cool feature that allows gamers to change the cartridges with one hand while holding the controller. And I don't know why, but this is really satisfying. And then catching it, you know, hey ladies, want to play some Pokemon Stadium, do ya? No? Okay, all right, bye. There's also this small light bar in front of the cartridge slot that illuminates the cartridge art when the console is on. This is a neat feature and one you don't think you need or miss until you see it at night. And while on the subject of cartridges, there's a semi-hidden clasp underneath the cartridge flap that allows users to latch the cartridge slot permanently open should you want to do so. The two buttons on the top are located on the front corners of the console, overly large and expressive intentionally. On the left is a button that pushes down. It powers the device on and off. A press will turn it on and a 2-second hold will turn it off. This button doesn't dip down too far and makes a springy noise when pressed. The button on the right is larger, protrudes, and comes in a slightly different color to the rest of the console. This is a spin wheel and can be used to navigate the menus on its own. Press it down for 2 seconds to open up the menu and twist it in any direction to navigate it. Navigation can be done on a controller, obviously, but it's a nice touch that it can also be done via the console, just in case your controller likes to break or you're just near your console on your desk and you can use this menu system on the fly without using a controller. It's a feature, again, that you don't think you need, but then comes in handy when you really need it. The front features 4 Nintendo 64 controller ports for those wanting to play with their wired original controllers or modern controllers with normal Nintendo 64 ports. These are laid out just like the original console, but feature an LED light behind each port and one in the middle to show the users if the console is on, if it requires an update, and other standard LED notifications. On the back, you'll find your important ports such as 3 USB-C ports for accessories and charging, a HDMI out to connect to modern TVs, and a micro SD card slot for all of your firmware updates. On the bottom, you'll find 4 circular grips and extra ventilation. I will say I do prefer analog's kind of all grippy bottom, but if you're a nerd and you actually want to jump in to the M64, which ModRetro kind of want you to do because inside is beautiful, you can do so by just taking off those screws pretty easily. But with the analog 3D, if you want to get in here, you have to peel off this gluey grip at the bottom, get in and risk damaging it. This is not built to open, whereas the ModRetro M64, they're more than happy for you to do so and have made it easier to do just that. And in terms of size as well, like it's pretty small. Like the N64 console is bigger than I anticipated, and the M64 just feels tiny compared to it. Like it's definitely thinner as well. It's slightly lighter, sorry, but size comparison, the N64 is a big boy. And actually this, when you put in a cartridge, is really quite compact and adorable. Is that the right word? And it is slightly smaller than the analog 3D as well. So if you want something compact, this is the most compact N64 FPGA console you're gonna get. And there are subtle nods to the N64 in terms of design, like you got the front ventilation on the top near the cartridge alongside the big front grips at the bottom as well. So it's a nice feature, but you know, does it look like a Nintendo 64? I'm going to be honest and say no, but that's just what ModRetro want. You know, it's extravagant, it's exciting, and it's slightly different, but N64 fans will see some subtle nods to the original design. There's one thing that really frustrates me about the analog 3D, and that's updating the firmware. I have to do it via the SD card slot here, which is an absolute ball ache. I don't want to do that. That feels very 2000s, and ModRetro have decided to do over-the-air updates via Wi-Fi. So when you do have a firmware update, it's as simple as going into the menu system, heading to settings, and clicking find latest update, and it will update it automatically as well. As easy as it is, like that isn't a feature. I feel like that should be normal, but it then shines a spotlight on analog as to why they haven't done that. And the only reason I can get my head around is that they had so many delays with this thing. That was just one of the features that didn't make the cut. But it's a really annoying feature when you realize, as of yesterday, I had to update both consoles. One I had to do via my computer, plug in the SD card. It was a ball ache. But the ModRetro M64 was the press of literally 4 buttons. Now a brief look at the menus. ModRetro has informed me that they are doing extensive development on the software side at the moment in time. So this prototype is definitely not going to be anything near what customers will get. It's just an early first look at kind of the features you will see. There are a boatload of features, which I'll get onto in a minute, that are coming in the future after launch. So what you see here is not what you will get. I just want to give you a sneak peek. That's all. Don't take this as what you'll get. This isn't a review. It's just an early look as a bonus. When you hold the menu button on the console for a couple of seconds, the M64 menu will take over the screen. It doesn't pause what's behind the screen though, so just, or at the moment in time. You see, this is what I mean. On my prototype unit, you have to pause the game before going into the menu, but I know I'll just mention that to ModRetro and they will just patch it in an update. So it's probably likely that your game may automatically pause. In the display settings, I can change the display to fit the 4:3 native screen size, or it can stretch to a 16:9 ratio to fill more of my display. There's also the option to change between integer and bilinear scaling. Quite simply, this will define how sharp your pixels look and how they move on the screen. Integer is usually sharper and has a blockier movement, whereas bilinear features smoother movements and it may look a little blurrier. So depending on what you want the crispy retro look or do you want the smoother pixelated movement, you have that choice at this moment in time. Then there's scaling to 720p, 1080p or 4K. This can be switched on the go too without needing to reset the console. My prototype unit doesn't have a look at any of the effects or the filters or other video processes. That's just what I have right now. So as mentioned, it's very basic, but you'll likely get something different at launch. I'm pretty sure you will. The controller section is pretty simple. It allows you to pair up to 4 Bluetooth or wired controllers to this device, and will even show you when one is plugged in so that you can't pair it with the same slot that's already taken. Simply press pair controllers and you'll see the next available controller port LED's lights spin around, which means it's in pairing mode. Simply connect your controller by pressing the pairing button on the controller and it will automatically connect. The LED light around your controller port will light up fully, indicating it has successfully paired, and it will also change color to purple if it's a Bluetooth controller, which is quite nice. In system settings, the only thing here on my prototype unit was the ability to connect it to Wi-Fi and then turn off the device manually within the settings should you want to do that. Then finally, in the About section, this is where it shares your software info and it has the ability to check for updates in terms of firmware and then install them for you automatically, which is a big thumbs up for me. So overall, it's a super simple menu system on my prototype unit, which I like. It's easy to understand. It has ModRetro's kind of nostalgic feel, which is quite good. And I can imagine this is going to be absolutely stacked with new features and stuff over the coming months and years after launch. Now let's take a look at gameplay. Now this is an FPGA console. This does nothing better compared to the original. It does nothing better in comparison to the analog 3D because it's designed to be identical to the Nintendo 64 in terms of gaming replication. This prototype runs my original cartridges very well with no major visible hiccups and zero worry, as expected from a high quality FPGA console. This technology allows you to upscale it to 720p, 1080p and 4K resolutions using modern TVs automatically. But it's not going to make anything, again, look better. You're getting that Nintendo 64 pixelated look that originally ran on like 280p or 480i on your big screen. This in itself, as simple as it seems, is actually quite hard to do. FPGA technology has adapted quickly over the years, and there have been many issues with interlacing and making emulation work flawlessly from a hardware perspective. But we're here, and FPGA Nintendo 64 emulation is close to perfect. This prototype showed a few frame rate drops a couple of times throughout my time testing, which has to be expected on this very early prototype and will likely be ironed out at launch. But that aside, it's as if this is a real Nintendo hardware, which is boring in a way, but that's what it's meant to do, to play your cartridges flawlessly like they did back in the day. The magic is in ModRetro's extra modern features that add to the nostalgic experience and modernize this beautiful console in a way that makes gaming even more fluid and enjoyable. This means upscaling to 1080p or 4K resolutions without it breaking the cartridge and adding integer or bilinear scaling for those who want certain gaming styles. Another big one for me was how quickly this thing jumps you into a game. I think I was testing around about 6 to 8 seconds from boot to get into the game, which is quite considerable, and even my TV takes a couple of seconds to turn on anyway. So take that off the boot time, and when you compare that with the analog 3D, it's almost half or more quicker. In terms of, I think it was like 19 seconds or beyond to get into the game on the analog 3D, where it was like 7 or 8 on the M64, which is nice. And it's those features, again, that you don't think you need until you get them, like actually booting straight into the game in 8, 6, 7 seconds, or even 5 in some cases is brilliant. That's what I want. I don't want to be waiting 20 seconds. And again, there's no like fans in here. The cooling tech is pretty good. It's not making any noise. It's incredibly silent, whereas the analog does kick in with some certain things now and then and fans that make you go, what the hell? But the M64 so far on my unit is incredibly silent and very, very quick to boot. You spend all this money on the device and you want it to do all this high-tech stuff, but actually what it does is something very simple flawlessly. And this device isn't for everyone, even if you love the console. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't mention that ModRetro has ties with Anduril, which is a company in the US that makes pretty much drones and weapons for the US government. So although your money isn't technically going to the creation of weapons that both protect and destroy, it's supporting Palmer Luckey, who is the man behind both ModRetro and Anduril. The overlap became ever more evident recently when ModRetro announced an Anduril edition of the chromatic handheld made from their drone metal. Some of you don't care that they're affiliated, some of you do care, some of you are even happy that they're affiliated. It's not for me to decide for you. You have to decide with your money, spend it as you please, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't mention that there's this affiliation that may, upset some of you, which is completely respectable. Now, ModRetro sent me this. I don't know if I'm allowed to share this. If it's in the video, obviously I can, because some things have private on it, but this doesn't. And this really excites me because there is a bunch of updates on this list that is coming out after the M64 launches. So you'll get your M64, you'll start enjoying it, playing with your library of games, and then there's stuff to look forward to that I am personally excited about. So there's stuff like overclocking. There'll be a built-in controller pack. If you have the ModRetro Chromatic, there'll be video pass-through and transfer pack features. So you'll be able to play your Game Boy games on the M64 through your Chromatic, which is awesome. There will be in-game notifications, console LED color customizations, wider third-party Bluetooth controller support, wider HDMI input compatibility, EverDrive 64 compatibility, Summer Kart 64 compatibility, in-menu sound effects, video processing effects, filters like your CRT stuff, cart hot swap and reset option toggles for those games that do so, translucent video setting menus, and there was one where I asked them to make the cartridge light brighter. They said we can do that, we can make that an update, and there will be some physical accessories too that you might be able to connect this physically to a CRT screen. So there is so many updates that ModRetro are working on, and that is kind of exciting for us as gamers who, you know, want to play our Nintendo 64 library. And because ModRetro are so fast paced, they're going to be constantly updating this thing months to even years after you purchase it. So my initial thoughts, like, this is a very early prototype unit. There's going to be stuff ironed out in terms of emulation performance and all of the software stuff and the settings that gets added. But in terms of like the physical design, I think ModRetro have nailed it. This is fun. This is exciting. This is nostalgic. And when this arrived, I did get a little bit emotional because this is kind of what I dreamed of as a kid. And now I get to experience this as an adult for just $199 in a new modern form factor that kind of pairs well with all of my tech. So it's a really cool time to be a Nintendo 64 fan, and I really do appreciate ModRetro sending this out, because there's risk with sending this stuff out to like influencers and media, because I could say things that don't come to fruition. I could confuse people, but right now that's an early look at the prototype. Again, things could change in this video that might not come out at launch or might come out at launch. You know, there might be extras, there might be less, who knows? But take everything you see with a pinch of salt, but that's so far an early look at the M64. Hit subscribe if you want to see more Retro Dodo content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, we'll do that one more time. Oosh!